Hello, how you doing? I'm Dr. Matt Young. I'm president of the American Academy of Implant Dentistry. Today we're going to be talking about our annual program. This is going to be in Phoenix, Arizona, November 12th to 15th. It's going to be an awesome program with main podium lectures, hands-on workshops, training for our allied team, camaraderie, and we get to see our newly credentialed members coming through. Today we have an awesome opportunity to talk to one of our great speakers. We have Dr. Paul Goodman. He's in Philadelphia, New Jersey, and he's going to be our keynote speaker on the main podium and also going to be running workshops for the Allied program and for dentists. Dr. Goodman trains a lot of dentists, inspires and coaches dentists, both associates and practice owners. We're very happy to have him here today. Paul, how's
Thrilled, Matt.
everything going?
Dude, going great. Thanks for including me. I love all the things you guys stand for. I love, even though I've become known since we knew each other back in the olden days of the early 2000s, right? The early
Yeah.
2000s, as the Facebook guy, but I love face-to-face CE, face-to-face connections. You learn just as much going to these meetings off stage, having coffee, wine, or both as you do on stage. And I just compliment the AAID. Thanks for being my sponsor. Thanks for including me because you're doing the work of the Lord G.V. Black. It's very important work, the Lord G.V. Black,
Nice.
so it is honor. So thanks for having me on today.
Well, thank you very much. You do have a huge following, and we're very happy to have you here today. And one of the things that people love about you is that you inspire them. We all
Thanks.
have challenges and hurdles with practice. We have our times we're really excited and times we need that cranking forward. And you've been one who can really push people forward at a friend level, at a professional level, and you're very
Thanks.
inspiring. So
I
tell us.
appreciate that.
Oh yeah, you're awesome. Tell us about some of the things that you're going to talk about on the main podium. This will be our keynote presentation.
Sure. Well, I have the topic of the life-changing impact of dental implants. And I think when people think of that, they think of the patients smiling more. But I say, Matt, that dentists and their teams deserve to smile more. I don't know, you're familiar because I know are you familiar with the term EBITDA, right? EBITDA,
Yeah.
you familiar with that? So that's, there's lots of ways to describe it. I don't think accountants can agree, just like we can't agree on occlusion. But let's just say it's the profit for a dental practice after paying someone to do the dental work, and just an evergreen term, right? That's EBITDA. Well, I have another term, Matt, and my main lecture is going to focus on this. SBITA. Okay, so EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. And SBITA, Matt, is stress building inside towards dentisting annoyance, right? And the way you track that is the number of times you feel like crying inside a day during your dental
Okay.
day, right? When your
Yeah.
class two ring thingy flies across the room and pings around on the floor, I say, bring back carpet, too much pinging, right? And what I want to encourage people to do is to, make that SBITA level better for them. And implants are such a great way to do that because I am in my dental practice today. I don't really practice clinical dentistry. I still come and deliver joy. That's what I say at the practice. I'm a joy deliverer. But I am still waiting for someone to thank me after a class two. It's never happened. Okay. But these implant cases, from everything from just, someone missing a premolar to giving people the ability to chew like they did decades ago, they change the people's lives. And I think we have to talk about the dentist and the teams just as much as the patient. So we're going to focus on that and how you can bring more of that to your practice, how you can get the whole team aligned to do that. And, makes you remember why you went to dental school, because there's so many days that you're like, I'm not sure why I'm doing this, when patients can be frustrating. I know, Matt, I'm rambling, but I don't know other professions where it's acceptable to walk into an operatory or walk into a room and tell the person helping you that you just want to let them know that they hate the dentist. And I say, I just want
Yeah.
to let you know you could have totally kept that in your head. No one. So that's good. The life changing impact of dental implants. The twist on it is it's for all of our lives, not just the patients.
That's awesome. And you said for all of our lives, we also have a great team training program that's gotten better and better over the years. We bring in clinical team members, front team members, treatment plan advisors, hygienists, and you're going to be running a 2-hour program during that
Yeah.
2-day program. Can you tell us about your allied
Sure. I'm
program?
thrilled to do that. Really appreciate, these opportunities you've given me to speak to a large group and then, smaller groups throughout the conference. And this one's going to focus on one of my signature lectures is confusion is the killer of case acceptance.
Oh.
It's the cliche, but a confused buyer tunes out. And when you get confused, you just get into analysis paralysis, you become uncomfortable, and there could be cost confusion. It could be clinical confusion. It could be, how you pass off from I want to talk a lot about, the inside the operatory to the outside the operatory pass off, right? Because patients, I don't know how do you describe them, Matt. They're liars, right? Because they go to the front desk and say, it wasn't $10,000. They said it'd be free. And nobody said that, right? So I say that jokingly to patients, but it's going to be a lot about how to create good systems to discuss uncomfortable topics like cost with care and compassion, to make everyone realize that they're a big part of the success, from the dental assistant, front desk team member, hygienist, dentist, office manager, patient care coordinator. And there's also going to be a piece on creating team harmony. I call it fit, find, inspire, and train your team. And just how, we can have more harmony, less stress, less chaos, which is what I strive to do daily. There's no perfection, but there's definitely the ability, like I've said, to cry less inside daily. So I want to help dentists and teams with that.
Well, you definitely run a great team program. You always hear a lot of laughing and having
Thanks.
fun, and people are walking out, like you said, high-fiving each other and getting
Yeah.
pumped up. So really encourage everybody to bring their team to the Allied Team Training Program at AAID. And
Awesome.
another workshop that you're doing is to help dentists, either prepare for the next phase of their career, whether they want to ramp up their practice or sell their practice or get to that next level. Can you tell us about some of that program?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Matt, we are both big Seinfeld fans, and there's the joke when it's actually the Tim Watley joke when he's the dentist, and it's like, he said even better, right? Jerry said
Yeah.
3,000. He said 3,000 years. He said actually 5 even better. So when you add an associate dentist to your practice, it can be for so many even better things. It can be to give you the freedom to take a few days off. It can give you the flexibility to go on vacation. It can. I'm a big into the F's here. It can fuel practice growth, right? It can fuel growth in a way that you want to fuel growth. And best of all, it's fewer hygiene checks, because I'm in my practice right now. We have multiple hygienists. My brother and associate are here, and they are definitely glad to have each other for these fewer hygiene checks. But we're going to talk about another F, the financial impact to prepare for, right? Because, adding an associate dentist comes with treatment planning your finances, just like we treatment plan an implant case. So we're going to do an analysis. I'm going to get some content from some of the accountants that I work with. We're going to talk to some of the practice owners we've worked with, so that people are just totally aware of the risks and benefits, informed consent, if you will, of adding an associate. I know you're a fan of having associate dentists.
Yep.
I do say, Matt, people say there's nothing 100% in life, like implants aren't successful 100% of the time.
Yep.
95, 92, 90, what I want to argue about. But there is something 100% of the time, okay? I want to be on record here talking to you. There's
Okay.
never a dentist who's worked 4 days and goes down to 3 and ever wants to go back to 4. There's never one who's worked 3 to 2, because happiness in dentistry is dosage dependent. And I say this with total compassion for what we do. When you can manage your daily dosage of clinical dentistry, and you can get it down to a lower amount, not necessarily a none amount, right? A no amount. It really can create joy for that practice owner. So we're going to dig into all of those factors in this workshop. I'm incredibly excited for it.
Yeah, it sounds great. I do have associates and I have a group practice, and it's been awesome for me. I will say that it took me a while to do it. It took me a while to delve into that for all the things that you said. I was solo for many years, and in hindsight, it was probably the most difficult thing in dentistry is being solo. Everything depends on you for that practice, and taking time off or being with family. Practice really has to close down. But
Yeah.
it took me a few years to take that leap, and once you did, it's awesome, like you said. And so I appreciate you're able to coach people through that. Like you said, you gotta have someone with you. Rather than just going down and starting to work out and saying I'm going to do that exercise because that guy's doing it over there. Having someone coach you through it and guide you through. I know we talked a lot about. I don't think I paid you at all, but I know we talked a lot
Yeah.
in that process.
I also want to ask Matt. I have a very polarizing question. What is your favorite football team now that you're on the West Coast? Well,
Oh,
I guess
Buffalo
it's still the
Bills.
Bill. Yeah, the Bills. So
Buffalo
I
Bills.
don't want to bring up a topic, but like the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl in such a dominating fashion that they had to put their backups in, right? Can you remember Super Bowl where they
Yeah.
said we are winning by such a large margin? And what I use is the Philadelphia Eagles had a transformative signing with Saquon Barkley, right? They had a running back who was good, Gainwell, and they signed Barkley, who is a superstar. And I've used this example of find your superstar running back associate. And what does frustrate me about my fellow practice owners is sometimes I'll say, "Oh, why don't you use my platform, Dentist Job Connect, to like see who you want to hire?" And they go, "My brother's cousin's sister's graduating from dental school next year, and I think I'm just going to hire them." And I go, "This is the most important position in your practice. Don't you want the most options for the most important position? And when you have context, interview a few, and maybe your brother's cousin's sister becomes the best associate, but don't miss out on your superstar running back." So that I'm going to talk a lot about that because we interviewed 10 people for a front desk position, 8 people for an assistant position, 4 people for hygiene, and some people go, "Oh, my friend's brother is going to graduate from dental school, so I think I'm going to just hire them and wait for that." And it causes a lot of pain because, as you know, having associates, it's not just about any associate; it's about the right one for your team.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we're hitting on so many things at this annual meeting. Come and see Dr. Paul Goodman from Dental Nachos and Dentist Job Connect. And, it's going to be a great program. You're going to be pumped up. We'll
Yeah,
have
I'm looking forward to it.
Thursday, Friday. Going to be great.
I'm looking forward to learning just as much. I really want to compliment the AID. We've been C speakers for a long time, and until like 2018, I rarely would I go to a conference where I had the opportunity to also watch other speakers. So I really appreciate not only do I get to share on stage, but I get to learn from the stage and learn from others on the stage, and that means a lot to me. So I appreciate you guys doing that.
Yeah, you lecture at a lot of different conferences around the world. Tell us about AAID and what's interesting for you.
Well, I mean, I think that like my my mind, it's the mindset of constantly improving your clinical skills is something that Dental Nachos stands for. And then I just am very passionate about dental implants. In fact, I call them nachos, Matt, because I call teeth tacos because all tacos break and become nachos. So that analogy fits, right? And I just think that it goes back to what I'm going to talk about, the life-changing impact of dental implants. There's so many things that cause us frustration in our daily dentisting lives that whether it is restoring a single tooth implant, people, Matt, they go, you have to know a lot to restore an implant, right? You have to know a lot to restore an implant. I go, well, can you use a screwdriver? You're 80% of the way there. And I say that because we do so many things that are so complicated and stressful that implants can give you the opportunity to have a low stress chairside procedure, which is restoring a posterior one. It can give you the opportunity to plan a complicated case with your specialist. So I just think that the AAID is so into educating in a responsible way. And it's just an important part of making this dental world better, raising everyone's level. And I think that's, more people should pay attention to joining organizations like this, not just for their clinical skills, but like you said, camaraderie. So compliment you on that.
Well, that sounds great. We're really excited to have you and excited to see you in Arizona. Everybody come and see Dr. Paul Goodman at our
Awesome, guys.
annual meeting, November 12th to 15th. Have a great day.